Okay, so we're going to dive a little bit deeper into metric conversions in this video. We're going to focus on converting between millimeters and kilometers. So I just want to remind you of this chart. This chart tells us how to convert between different metric prefixes. And we can really use this chart as a number line. So just looking at kilometers, right? This is so 10 to the third, and millimeters. 10 to the negative third, you can see that there's 6 factors of 10 in between this, right? So 10 to the third, then we would have 10 to the second, 10 to the first, 10 to the 0, 10 to the negative 1, 10 to the negative 2, 10 to the negative 3. So you can really see that there are 6 different factors. And I'm going to make this a bit clearer. So we would have 10 to the third, that's our kilometer, 10 to the second, 10 to the first, 10 to the 0, which is the same thing as 1, 10 to the negative 1. And the reason I'm doing this is the point is just to figure out how many factors of 10 is the difference. So here you can see if this was a number line, we're going 6, there are 6 factors of 10 in between these two numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the difference in magnitude is 10 to the 6th between these two numbers. So if we have 0.672 kilometers and we're trying to figure out how many millimeters, either it's going to be 0.672 times 10 to the 6th, or 0.672 times 10 to the negative 6. And again, this is because there are those 6, there are these 6 magnitudes of 10. That's the difference. And so how do we figure out what would our answer be? Well, kilometers is larger than millimeters. So that means that we're going to need more millimeters than kilometers. So this would be our answer. So again, just to break this down, like if this was equal to 1 kilometer, then 1 millimeter would just equal this, because millimeter is a factor of 10 to the 6th smaller than kilometer. And so that means that in 1 kilometer, this is really 10 to the 6th millimeters. Okay, because they have this factor of 10 to the 6th difference. And kilometer is 10 to the third times bigger than a meter, and a millimeter is 10 to the negative third times a meter. So millimeter is smaller than a meter, kilometer is bigger than a meter, which means that a kilometer is bigger than a millimeter, which means that if we have an equal, we're just converting this number into millimeters, this number is going to have to be pretty large. So we're going to put this in scientific notation. So we would have to move the decimal over so that only one number is in front. Since we're moving it over to the right, we're making this number larger, so we have to make the exponent smaller. So we would have 6.72 times 10 to the 5th millimeters is the same thing as 0.672 kilometers. And here's another example. This time we're going the other way. So we have 13.4 millimeters. And I just want to put this in perspective. If this is our ruler, and this is, if you look at any ruler and you have like 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, a ruler with centimeters, 13.4 millimeters is like right here. It's a very small number. And so when we're talking about kilometers are huge. Kilometers are on the scale of like miles. So you know we're going to have a very small amount of kilometers. And so again, we know that there's that factor of 6. So this time, since we're going from millimeter to kilometer, we're going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit, our exponent has to be small because our unit is big. So this would be our answer, 13.4 times 10 to the negative 6. There's that difference in 6 magnitude. And to put this in scientific notation, we're going to move that decimal over. And so we're making the number smaller this time. 1.34 is smaller than 13.4. And so we need to make the exponent bigger. So this becomes 10 to the negative 5 kilometers. And since this exponent is negative, negative 5 is a bigger number than negative 6. Another way to do this is to use dimensional analysis, and so we could just say 13.4 kilometers. Oops, I'm sorry, millimeters. And we can create some sort of fraction. So what's the relationship between millimeters and kilometers? Well, in every 1 kilometer, there's 10 to the 6th millimeters. And so our millimeters would cancel out and you would get the same answer. I hope this helps. Please let me know if there are any additional questions.